And welcome back to me channel. Unless you're new here, just welcome. My name is Rusty, and this is me channel where I talk about me favorite movies, mostly horror, and me favorite music, mostly metal. And welcome to day 4 of Zombie Fest. And we are going to be talking about a little movie I fell in love with called Alone. Alone. Yes. I went running to get this as soon as I could. Where did I see it? I saw it, when they tricked me into that 30-day trial on Prime, Amazon Video, whatever that shit is. I watched a few movies on it, before I canceled the trial that I never asked for. But I saw this on that, and man, I immediately fell in love, and I ran and grabbed it the second that I could. I got the DVD plus digital. So, yes, I love this movie. Alone was released in 2020. It is directed by Johnny Martin and written by Naylor, and it stars Tyler Posey, Donald Sutherland, and Summer Spiro. Donald Sutherland is so good in this movie. But he's the first person you see, actually, if you go to International Movie Database and look the trailer. The trailer is beginning with him. He's the first thing you see on the trailer. But, this movie is basically a remake of the movie that I just did, The Night Eats the World, and a remake of the movie #Alive, which is a South Korean film. And of course, everybody on International Movie Database screaming, "Oh, the South Korean is better, the South Korean is better." Yeah, we know that if you're an American, if you're an English-speaking country, anything that is foreign gives you cred if you say that it's better than the American or British or English version of a movie. I don't really know why that is. But I'm not that way. It's okay to speak English. It's okay to like American, British, Canadian, Australian. It's okay to like English movies. This really is. I mean, doesn't have to be South Korean or Italian or a foreign language to you to be. I think it gives them some kind of posh cred. Like, yes, but it's Argento, It's an Italian cinema. And I guess it makes them think that they're special because they think it's better. How do you know? Maybe I think that Alone is better than #Alive because I think Tyler Posey is fine as hell, and I don't think that the guy in the other one is attractive. Doesn't matter. Why? What matters is it a good movie? #Alive, it looked good. I might get it. If I can find it, I'll get it. I haven't looked it up to see if it's available. But to me, this is a remake, although slightly different than The Night Eats the World. So we have Alone, and we see a guy who later we learn is named Aiden. It opens up on day 42. We don't know what that means. And he's about to hang himself. And he climbs up on a chair and says that he's sorry. And, you see this really sad stuff. And then he's going to top himself. And then it's a flashback. It goes into a flashback. And we see him waking up in bed. And it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And he gets up out of bed. Male nudity alert. This is one of those movies where I get to go nanny nanny boo boo. Y'all love making fun of all these movies that don't never show anything but a woman's boobs and won't even show the crack of a guy's butt. But this is one, in case that matters to you, this is one where just straight women and gay guys get a thrill. There is no female nudity in this movie. Nanny, nanny, boo, boo. But there is guy butt shot, so take that. What's another one like that? Revenge from 2017. There's a lot of male nudity in that either, and no female nudity. So, since y'all think it's so funny to laugh at everybody because the 80s slashers just show boobs and don't show anything from the guys, but okay. Gay men, straight women, more than 50% of the population, and no, it's just you guys get boob shots. That's all that matters, right? Okay, well, not in this movie. So anyway, he wakes up, he washes up, and he hears strange noises in the hallway. This is going to be pretty similar to that one, but he hears strange noises in the hallway. His friend Brandon, it's not his friend, I'm sorry. It's his neighbor that he barely knows. His neighbor Brandon comes running into his room because the door's unlocked, comes running into his apartment. At the same time, he notices the emergency broadcast system came on his TV. So Brandon comes running in and tells him something really bad is happening. And the guy, and Aiden's like, "What are you doing in my apartment? Who are you?" He's like, "You know me, you know my face, I'm your neighbor." And he's like, oh, okay, but what's going on? So, as Brandon's listening to the reports on the TV, you're hearing them talking about some kind of thing is happening, some kind of contagion. Everybody's gone nuts. They're biting each other. If a person's been bit, that seems to be the way it's transmitted. Aiden notices that Brandon's been bit on the neck, and Brandon hears that too, right? So Brandon runs into the bathroom and is like, comes running back out and going, "No, man, I'm okay. And Aiden's like, "You can't stay in here, dude." He pushes him out the door right as he's about to change, right as he's changing. Manages to get the door closed. Runs to the window out onto his balcony where he sees a helicopter crash into a building. He sees planes going. He sees this massive amount of chaos. Everybody's losing it. Attacks down there in the street. He's like 1, 2, 3. He's like 3 floors up. So it's not super far, but, so it's right there. And he sees people attacking each other, killing each other. So he starts to isolate, just like the other movie. Because, the news reports are like, this is happening. This is what you need to do. You need to stay locked inside. You don't need to be around anyone, blah, blah, blah. So he starts looking around his apartment. 7 days have gone by. He starts vlogging on his laptop. Now the water and the electricity is still on, just like it would be here. It's going to take probably weeks for the water and the electricity to go off according to what happens. Probably you're better off in the rural area. That would probably take longer because things can happen in the city that can knock the lights out, which is the same thing that's going to knock the lights out here, but it could take longer before somebody crashes into a telephone pole, you know what I mean? Or a light pole. So he begins vlogging, telling his thoughts on the computer. You see how his isolation is going. We get 20 days have gone by now. The water finally goes out. He's got he was a health nut, so he's got lots and lots of bottled water. We get a really scary scene when a Zed gets in his apartment through the crawl space in his bathroom. That is an interesting scene because it's scary. And when he bashes her in the head with a bat, it's like a female Zed. Jesus Christ, he knocks the shit out of her. I don't know exactly how they did that technically. Because that's he crushed her skull with one swing. But then again, if you're that scared, you're going to put some power behind it. So, we're up to day 42, so we've kind of made full circle. And we get to see what puts him on that chair. His phone beeps finally, but he misses the call. The call dies. He checks his messages, and it was a phone call from his mother. And his mother's going, "Oh my God, I finally got through to you. Your sister went out to try to get somewhere to get help. We're running out of supplies. Please take care of yourself." And then he hears someone banging on the door. You hear his dad screaming, "Leave us alone, don't do that." And he basically hears them killed on the phone. So this is what leads to his despondency, which puts him on that chair. And he is going to, commit suicide. Mom and dad was killed. So he decides to try to escape. So he goes running down the hall, like maybe he can get out. Because, I've got to help my parents. It was just like an instinctual thing, So he tries to leave. He gets attacked. There's a big chase and fight scenes where the zombies try to get him as he tries to get out. He manages to go down, around, back up, and gets back to his apartment just by the skin of his butt. And that's when he decides there's no hope and he's going to top himself. So while he's standing on that chair right before he does it, he sees someone looking through a window in the apartment across the way. Now, I guess there's about 20 feet. I mean, it's not long at all. They're close together, these two buildings. So his balcony and her balcony is maybe 25 feet apart, so it's not really that long. So he sees this person, and he slips, but manages to catch himself, and he hurts himself a little bit, but not too bad. But here's a little bit of hope, right? So once he sees her across the way, he has hope that he's not alone, thinks maybe they can help each other. So she sees him, and he starts holding up placards, like, "My name is Aiden, are you okay? What the hell, you're the first person I've seen in 42 days. So, and she doesn't have placards, but she's got a marker board, So she's talking back to him that way, and that's the way that they communicate. Her name is Ava. They chat as much as they can with writing text. The next day, he makes a rope and puts a baseball on it, and she catches it with a highlight. If you know what that game is, a highlight with a highlight mitt. She catches it, and they make a rope where he can send her bottled water across it. So when they're trying this, though, this Zed notices them, and he's a spry one. So he's climbing that balcony, he's going to get to it. And the zombies in this movie are they bother me. It's just their mannerisms. They cause me anxiety, the way they click and twitch, and it's very annoying. Well, not annoying, it's scary. It's supposed to scare you. It's a scary movie. But it manages. These particular zombies in this movie cause me anxiety, like they should. So this one almost gets to her, but he distracts it. Then it comes up his side. It manages to get on his balcony, and he ends up having to go out there and beat it to death with a bat, which scares him because he got blood on him. So for a few minutes there, he has a panic attack thinking that he's gotten, infected. So he can't figure out exactly what he needs to do, how he's going to get to her, or how he can get her to him, or how they can help each other. But one thing he does know is that he's running out of supplies. So he starts like trying to figure out how to get to at least the closest apartments to see if there's anything in there. He ends up going into Brandon's because he knew that Brandon was a rock climber, a mountain climber. So you see how they've got the elements of each other in these three movies that I mentioned. But so he goes into Brandon's apartment, manages to get into it. There's what he thinks is a dead body on the bed that's got the back of her legs eaten off, but he finds this mountain climbing equipment. And so he gets a bunch of it, and then there's a big jump scares when not only does Brandon come in and there's a don't touch me fight, because that's going to be your main thing when you're fighting these zombies. It's not just don't kill me, it's like don't touch me, don't bite me, So we definitely have a oh my god, don't touch me fight. And then I'll be damned if the person on the bed is a zombie too. It's just that they can't walk because the back of their legs have been eaten off. So, he ends up killing her as well with the rock pick. He kills Brandon with the rock pick. He kills her with the rock pick. Manages to get once again back to his apartment with his ass intact. So, panics again. About whether he's been infected or not, which is something you would probably be worried about. Now, since he brought over that guy's bags, he's going through it and he finds walkie-talkies. He finds a set of walkie-talkies. So he pretends to be a ninja. That's what he keeps telling himself, is that he's a ninja. And he's like, I'm a ninja, I can do this. But he manages to get down and up to throw the walkie on her balcony and then back up to his, again with some close calls. And so now they're able to talk on the walkies. So after that's gone on for a while, they got to know each other and they talk and stuff like that. He decides to, once again, he's got to hunt for supplies. So he decides to use the crawl space where that Zed had got in on him. So he uses the crawl space and goes over to another apartment. He finds a dead body up there, which is gross. But he goes to another apartment and he gets down in it, and it's the jackpot. It's full of food. Very tense. These scenes are very tense because you're expecting a Zed at any time. So he manages to get in that apartment, and he's like, oh my gosh, it's even got Twinkies, which give him a boner, if you know what I'm saying. To have something like that. Can you imagine, like, months and, or what is it? What, about 50? Yeah, we're approaching 2 months now. So, and he finally gets something nice like a Twinkie. He's very happy. But there's this food, and he's like, oh, we're going to be okay, and he contacts Ava, and he tells her that he's found all this stuff. She bitches him out about doing it without telling her, and he's like, are we like having a fight, like a relationship? It's like, what? She's like, well, okay, yeah, that is a little weird. It's a little, we haven't even like physically met each other, but I'm the only thing you've got. You're the only thing that I've got. You can't run off to another apartment. I mean, I've been calling you for 30 minutes and thought you were dead or something. So, oh, I'm sorry. All right. So I'm like, oh, heteros. I don't know. But, so he's in there. He's getting off the stuff and he's putting that in the bags and things like that. And she realizes something during the conversation. Because he's like, yeah, I'm safe in here. Everything's fine. And she's like, but didn't you say the refrigerator was up against the door? And he's like, yeah, just like it is in my apartment. And she's like, but if there's nobody in there, how did the refrigerator get up against the door? Where's the person that was in there? So he's like, oh, I didn't think of that. So he gets scared, tells her to be quiet, and he's like looking around the apartment, and he sees a big hole in the closet, in the wall in the closet. And he's like, what the hell is that? And about the time that he notices that, he turns around and there's Donald Sutherland. So Donald Sutherland has got like this weapon, and they kind of banter for a minute before he realizes, okay, I'm not a Zed, you're not a Zed, let's chill. So that worked out, and then you learn that Donald Sutherland's name is Edward. They talk about the apartment. Edward tells him he's the one that made that hole. He tells him the guy that lived there was named Jonathan, and that he had committed suicide in the tub, which is the ugly shit we had seen earlier with blood in the tub, but there was no one in it, but it still smelled, probably from the leftover blood. So Edward tells him that, yeah, his name was Jonathan. He had killed himself, and when I came in here, I, put his body outside. So that's the explanation. So they have this nice long monologue talk about each other and how they've survived. They talk about how the occupant killed himself, and they talk about if they've ever killed anyone. So like Edward asked him, have you had to kill anyone yet? He said, yeah, that he had to kill a couple. And Edward said that he had not yet had to do that, which is a lie. So he talks with him more about very philosophical stuff about, how a person would have to kill someone they loved and stuff like that. And they do all that kind of stuff for a bit, which is really good. It's really good monologue. It's Donald Sutherland, for God's sakes. So when he's finally kind of through, I shouldn't be bothering you with all of this. Just pack up what you need, and there's some liquor up there that you can have. So he reaches up there to get the liquor, and Edward knocks him the fuck out. You don't see that coming, but he knocks him the fuck out. Comes up behind him and knocks out Aiden. So now Aiden wakes up back in Edward's apartment. So he's taken him through that hole and brought him into his apartment. And he wakes up, and Edward's wife is chained up in that room. She is a full fucking Zed. And Aiden realizes, he's tied to the bed. And Edward tells him, what the fuck? And Edward's really upset, He doesn't want to be doing this, but he thinks he has to. And he's like, you've done this to other people? You're going to feed me to your wife? And Donald Sutherland Edward is like, no, I haven't done it to anyone. He really did commit suicide. And I wasn't even going to let you know, but because you're unconscious, she wouldn't eat you. So I have to wait for you to be conscious. But this is the plan. I'm going to feed you all of these pain pills. And then once you're almost unconscious, I'm going to cut your artery in your leg and put you up there because it's my wife and I have to, I love her and I have to, maybe there will be a cure. And he's like, you're fucking nuts. You're fucking killing. You're going to kill me. No, it's crazy. And that's when he accused him of maybe having been doing this. And he sweared he hadn't though. But he did say that he fed her the dogs. They're dogs. They're 2 loyal dogs. And I'm like, okay. So about that time though, Ava saves them because the walkie-talkie is back there, right? So Ava yells on the walkie-talkie, Aiden, where are you? This makes Edward think that someone else is in the room because he didn't know nothing about the walkie-talkie. So he turns around and runs out, and that gives Aiden time to get himself loose. And as soon as Edward runs back in, Aiden trips him and he falls on the bed underneath his wife, who starts eating him. So that was a bit ironic. And Aiden manages to get out. and Edward is ate by his wife. Now, the reason that Ava had screamed over the walkie-talkie was that the Zeds had finally broke into her apartment. She was trapped out on the balcony. So here you have the big major fight, run, boss fights kind of thing. Because Aiden has to like run out, run down, get up the balconies, get her down the balconies, running through the halls. And so you have a lot of really bad attacks and fighting and very, very exciting Zed versus human attacks. By the time they do make it in the apartment, which was exhausting, and full of really cool jump scares and twists, and it had me on the edge of my seat. When they finally do manage to get in his apartment, so they're both together now. Only problem is there was a part in which it really looked like Edwin? Who's Edwin? I don't know an Edwin. But it looks like Aiden had been bit. I mean, there was even like this big blood thing here. You just knew he had been bit. And he ran out onto the balcony and got up on this big coat case. And she was like, no, you can't do that. And he's like, I'm not, you'll be okay. I mean, there's plenty of food, there's plenty of things, you'll be all right. But he has every intention of jumping. But, he takes off the jacket and he takes off the shirt. And it turns out that was just blood from the Zed's face, that his skin had not been broken. He had not been bit. So they then run back to the door because the Zeds are all like gathered and are getting through, and they brace themselves and they manage to hold them off, or they are holding them off as the movie then ends with them up against the refrigerator holding them off, which you, based on behavior from the rest of the movie, they'll give up in a second as soon as everything is quiet and move off. So, are they going to be okay? I think so. I don't know. We will see. And that was Alone. Now, yes, Alone was indeed a remake of these two movies, #Alive and The Night Eats the World. But I think what people need to understand is just quit being such bitches about stuff, okay? It doesn't give you any special kind of cred to bash this movie because you think you're more of a film aficionado by claiming that the South Korean version is better, the original. Because I hate to burst your bubble on that, and this is just about this movie in particular, but this was written before that one was filmed. So, before you get all high and mighty about it, and, oh yeah, there it is. #Alive. But this one was written before #Alive. So who ripped off who? And this movie, The Night That Eats the World, this was released years before Alone or #Alive. So who's copying who? The concept is from who? What exactly are you saying? So that's why I find all of that ridiculous. Okay, #Alive looks like, I haven't seen it. I will look for it and see if I can buy it because, I'd like it in my zombie collection. But I watched the trailer. I watched several trailers. And it looked good. It looked exciting. It looked just like that movie. It looked just like this movie. It looked like the exact same storyline. But if you're going to bash this movie because of the South Korean #Alive, well, I hate to burst your bubble, but the #Alive from South Korea ripped off the British movie The Night Eats the World. So this is a great movie. That's a great movie. And Hashtag Alive might be a great movie. What the fuck is your problem? Can't you just like all of them? But you're not going to make me feel bad for liking all of them. And I am not going to I'm not going to bash this movie because the other one is a South Korean. It's a foreign film. I'm waiting for the light of Mary to fall upon me. Fuck it. Okay? I love this movie, and that's all that matters. And the reason that irritates me is because this movie has a lot lower score than what it should have, and almost the majority of the negative comments, which means the majority of the negative votes, are for nothing but it's a ripoff of Hashtag Alive. Nothing about the movie, the actors, Donald Sutherland, the way this adaptation is just, ooh, I'm giving it a 3 because they dared to rip off a South Korean movie. Well, that South Korean movie ripped off a British movie. So, what's up? There's only so many concepts, you know what I'm saying, folks? It's not ripping off anything. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You can give me a slasher that is basically Friday the 13th every year. Put some pretty people in it, give me some interesting kills, make the acting good, the cool special effects. I'm fine with it, okay? I don't care that this has the same basic plot as that. The same basic concept as Hashtag Alive. I don't care. I can love all 3 of them and you lose out. So there. Alone, 2020. Donald Sutherland. Tyler Posey. Summer, whatever the hell her name was. I don't mean that in a bad way. I already closed the page and I can't think of it. I keep wanting to say Summer Sonic, but that's a heavy metal festival. Summer. The girl's name is Summer. Tyler Posey and Donald Sutherland. Fantastic film. Thank you for joining me on day 4 and listening to me bitch, aside from telling the story. But I love this movie. I think it is very well done. I love the acting. I love the concept. His girly thing when seeing her, I would of course loved it to be a guy on the other side of the thing, but we don't own the world, do we? So, other than that, though, it's an 8 out of 10. All of these have been 8 out of 10s. I absolutely love them. Probably more. The more I watch them. I've seen this like 3 times now. But yeah. Alone, 2020. Zombie Fest Day 4. Thank you very much. Always remember, never forget, you are a very, very, very special person. And even if you, just like the other one, are trapped alone and isolated in a apartment building surrounded by Zeds who want to eat your ass. And not in a good way. So, yeah, you're still special. Love you, miss you. Bye-bye. I'll see you in the next one. Day 5. Yes, I've got them picked out. But I'm not going to tell you what it is. You'll just have to wait till it's uploaded. And I will get to the big famous ones. Unless I drop dead, and then it won't matter, will it? So, there we go. Bye-bye.